listening to the Lama podcast. I'm Gunjan.
I'm Rajiv.
Rajiv, I want to talk about again slavery never ended, it just turned economic. And I want to tell my answer again, and I'll stay firm with that it's any time better than being a domestic slave.
Hmm.
Recently, and the reason I want to bring this topic at the Dalai Lama, recently Mr. Uh, Murthy said that Indian youth work 70 hours a week. That's like working two full-time jobs with a side hustle on weekend. You had no time for sleep. You'll basically be a human productivity machine, basically be a human productivity machine, churning out code and spreadsheet until you collapse from exhaustion. I want to pause here and rewind to 2006, where he was singing a different tune, that who's staying late in office. And he wrote a letter to an employee that staying late in office does not necessarily mean that you are productive. And you should emphasize on work life balance and you should go home on time. I fail to understand what happened. Change of heart, change of character, or he realized that, okay, if people are maintaining work life balance, if they're thinking they're getting into
Too much of life
existential.
and no work.
Yeah, too much of life, no work, getting into existential crisis, becoming Babaji or becoming stand-up comedians, and then talking about their company only. I really want to understand what does 70 hours a week mean?
For the people who don't know, Mr. Murthy is Narayan Murthy, who was co-founder of Infosys, one of the very first outsourcing offshoring company that actually revolutionized. There was a book written on this company called "The World Is Flat," and so yeah, it was they were pioneers at that time, and I don't have the context of the quotation he made. So I don't know exactly what was the context against which, but based on what you said, I think he's right.
Okay, now we are talking.
So if you are going to focus on the 9 to 5 job, then you should be happy with what you're getting. I think from based on what his pedigree is and what he has done in life, and maybe some larger context about what the statement is made. So that happens all the time. If you look at Elon Musk, or the founders of Google or Yahoo, or pick any big company that literally transformed the world. Those people were not focused on 9 to 5 jobs. Those
Rajiv,
are people like us. No,
no,
so
no,
let me
I'm
finish.
okay. Okay,
Right. There were pictures of the founders sleeping under their desks, working 20 hours, 22 hours a day, because they had a passion. If today, let's say I know that you create the creatives and a lot of things that we do at the podcast, and you're working like all close to midnight. Now, is that work for you?
it is.
So would you want to just restrain it to 9 to 5?
See, Rajiv, here's the context. Again, what I wanted to understand, what does 70 hours mean? Do I work 70 hours for the company that I'm working for?
Why not? If it is your own, if you think that this is your own company, if you are a stockholder, if you get the stock purchase plan, or you get stock in the company or options in the company, you're part of the company, then you better work your ass off to make it successful. Yes,
Again,
if you are thinking that you are on a payroll, and you're thinking of the stock and everything as purely as compensation, then I agree with you.
see, working for a company and having own company, they're two different things.
No,
And
they are
then
not.
people have
They
their hobbies.
they
People
they are
have,
not. They are not,
see, there are two
because
things. One is job, One is career. Either people are just doing their job, that this is my job, this is what is assigned, this is what is expected out of me.
Yes,
If I do
then
oh
this
little,
statement is invalid. Then it should be no 70 hours. I would say, 40 hours is enough
and we
if
are
it is a
talking
job.
about, see, yes, and we are talking about 4 days work week compared to bringing working,
And
if
that's wokeism. I don't subscribe to that.
you'll not subscribe to what,
4 days a week.
that's for,
If people want to work 4 days a week, they should accept 4 days a week salary.
they'll be
But
paid,
but
no,
people
no,
want 7 days a week
no, it's
salary
it's
to
40
work for 4 days.
hours. Yeah, it's 40 hours, and what they're
That's
saying
five
is,
days.
instead, yeah, yeah, that's what they're saying, that work 10 hours a day and finish your week in 4 weeks. And this there's a lot of debate which is going on, a lot of research work which is going on this, and then people will have that liberty to pick and choose the model what they want to do.
See, it's very simple for me. If you do not like to work for a company, you should not work for a company. You should quit and go work for a company that is aligned with your life's passions, with your mission in life. Then I can guarantee you, whether it is 50, 70, 80, 100, 200 hours, it will really not matter. Where it
And
matters for people is where they are working for a company and they hate their jobs and they hate their life and they keep complaining about company and the circumstances and this and that, because they are looking at it incorrectly. They should be looking at it, if I'm not happy with the company, this is not the where place I belong, then even earning one penny from that company is filling your hatred.
I lost the track of what I was about to say, but again, I'll quote Mr. Murthy that love your job, not your company.
Yes, but the thing is, the job you will only get, the job you will love will most likely be only with the companies that you value. For example, I know of people who got a very lucrative job with Amazon, but they did not feel that their values were aligned with the company. They did not take the job. They are working in a lower paid job because the values are not aligned. And that is fine. That is exactly how it should be. You will love your job only if you are working for a company that aligns to your values, your ethics, your beliefs, and everything. Otherwise, there is no way you will love your job.
So, Rajiv, I can't believe you're saying all this. You're advocating so much. When you came up with the concept of economic slavery, like when you said that
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
not economic slavery, then what is it?
No, no. So, see, the context of my quotation, that slavery never ended, it turned economic, was for exactly the people who do not love their job, who do not love what they do, and they are stuck, they feel that they are stuck in the company, in the role, in the job, just because they have bills to pay. That was the context, and the context still stands. It is exactly that. I know that, I'm sure I have not like followed up what when the this quote was made by Mr. Murthy. I'm sure that many, many, many people would have said, "Oh, he's talking about slavery. This, he's a slave driver. This, exactly what you started with." But I would say that no, think, reflect. If I am today working, no, let's say I'm working on something that I like. Now, let's say I'm, working on a book, and something has
From
triggered, and
last 10
now
years, right?
11, no, 14 years.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes,
Carry
it is
on.
going to see the day of light next year. So I'm complete. But anyway, but the thing is that when I am working on it, when it's 11 o'clock, midnight, 2 a.m., when the idea arrives, then I start working on that. That does not feel to me like I am a slave to what I'm doing. So the slavery, economic slavery, the context is that it is for people who believe, or who they think that they are stuck in their job, in the company they're working for, and other circumstances purely because they have to earn money. That's the context. And that's why, yes, most of us feel we are economic slaves.
See, the reason I wanted to bring this, I wanted to understand the intent behind it. And he's talking about economy, he's talking about country, and then if we are working, he's talking about our growth as well. But I wanted to understand the mind change or character change, like what happened. And I tell you, when I was in Calcutta around 2006, and when this letter came that youngsters are staying back in office and they are not actually making the environment good for people who have families. And I used to stay in office after 6 as well, uh, just finishing like what all I have done today and then preparing myself for next day. And then one of my colleague who was retired from Usha Martin, he said that, Gunjan, we understand that your husband works a lot, and even when you go home he's not there. It's fine. Even if nobody is at home, leave office
You
at
go.
6.
Yeah.
Today you do not have a family. When you'll have a family, like we were just a couple, it was not a family. Tomorrow, when you'll have a family, when you leave at 6, you'll feel guilty. Oh my God, I'm leaving office at 6. I said, no, but I'm finishing all this. He said, learn to manage your time. That how
Yes.
you'll finish all
Yes.
this before
Correct.
6. And
Yes.
that stayed, and that actually stayed. And he said a very right thing that even if you leave at 6, you'll feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. With that, see, we can do a different, discussion on the corporate culture and the peer pressure. So what we're talking about is, and I have seen this, especially in Asia, not just India. I've seen it in Malaysia, I've seen it in China, some of the Philippines, some of the countries that I have direct experience managing people. There, people will tend to stay in the office till the boss is around. So there's some kind of a mental pressure that you have to, the boss may call for something at the last minute, but that's BS. That's where the economic slavery is. If you do not respect your own time, then nobody else, you cannot expect anybody else to respect your time. If you do not respect your priorities in terms of that, hey, I have a family, I should leave by 5 or 6 or whatever time, then don't expect anybody else to respect those priorities. So you definitely have to step forward and say, this is where I draw the boundary. Yes, there may be ups and downs. Sometimes there's a, let's say once in 3 or 4 months or something, you have to, bust your ass and you have to work on weekend. That's fine. Those are, those are like the boundary conditions. But 90-95% of the time, you should be, if you're employed and you are looking at your job as purely a paycheck, not as something that you are very passionate about, then be clear about it and be very firm about it that, hey, this is my job, you know, this is what I'm paid for and this is what I'm doing. Then don't have any qualms or guilt about leaving at the time when your logical day ends. I personally don't believe in the clocks. I believe in that my productivity may be better or worse than your productivity. You may finish the work in 2 hours. That will take me 4 hours. Then I should be there in 4 hours. If you're done with 2 hours, you finish your work and you go do what you want to do with your own time. So there's a different, those are different things around corporate culture and peer pressure and all that. But coming back to the concept of economic slavery versus, working 70 or 80 or 100 hours a week, I think those are, you have to look at from different angles. I may have to do some research around what was the context of Narayan Murthy saying that. If he's saying that building a nation,
he
yes,
did say that. He did say
yeah.
that for Indian
So,
economy,
so,
it
so to
is
build a
required that
nation,
youth works for 70 hours. Yes, that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
I
His
would say
intent was,
youth. Yes, go ahead.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, that his intent was misunderstood. But then he's the same person who said something else,
No, but the
singing a
context is
different
different.
tone.
Context is different. See, earlier when he, based on what you said, the letter to the employees was that, hey, you are an employee of for Infosys, right? I don't know what the compensation structure is or whatever it is, right? So I think that was a very genuine, feedback that, hey, you respect your time. We are paying you for 9 to 6. Then beyond that, it is your time. But the problem is, don't people don't respect their own time. They want to sit in the office. Either they want to avoid going home, or they have nothing else to do in life, and then they complain about all the other things. So I have a very mixed feeling about it. I've seen both sides of the coin. I have seen people who literally, like Narayan Murthy, I have told people, hey, you don't need to attend a meeting that is beyond a certain time. But they feel compelled to attend a meeting. I think we talked about it in one of the episodes where I had a reportee, and there's a standard status update meeting that happened close to midnight of our time, and I kept telling him, hey, you can catch up over meeting notes. You don't need to. But he was feeling so compelled to attend the meeting, the standard run-of-the-mill meeting that I would say 90% people can avoid. Actually, that kind of meeting should not be even there. But the gist is that we have to understand the context. When you're talking about nation building, when you're talking about building a brand new company, a startup, yeah, you will have to work, 70, 80, 100 hours, I don't know, whatever is required. So there's a statement that at least in Silicon Valley that, they say, do whatever it takes. And people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and all that, you read their stories, you know, and then you will understand, they were working 100 hours a week.
Yes, there's no shortcut to hard work. Even Harsha Bhogle said that there's no shortcut to hard work. But then, yeah, Rajiv, there are two things that I want to bring here. People complain. Complaining is a habit. It's just that they want to nag about small thing, big thing. I don't know, but it is a habit. They'll be, if you want to, what you see is what you get. If you want to seek happiness, you'll get happiness. If you want to seek contentment, you'll get contentment. If you want to be fussy and to nag about things, you'll get that. So complaining is a habit. Let's keep those people aside. And I also complain. It's not like that I'm like,
Everybody
the
complains.
most,
Yeah,
everybody complains. But
yeah,
yes,
everybody
uh,
complains.
another comparison that I wanted to draw. You said that if uh, it's coming, like when we said that people are talking about 4 days work week compared to what people are talking about 70 days work week. So we say, okay, if you're working for 4 days, you should be paid for 4 days. But when people are working for 70 hours, do they get paid or incentivized
Yeah, but
like that?
my question is not that. My question is that why would you want to work 70 hours? If somebody is forcing you to work 70 hours, then you should be getting paid for 70 hours. I agree with that. The the 4-day work week and all this, is all touchy-feely, good feeling. It is, in actually, if we start peeling onion on that, that is the government's way of saying that actually turning you into purely economic slave. Why? Because the day a government mandates 4 days a week and with no reduction in salary, you will want to, elect the same government again, no matter how corrupt it is. Why? Because now you're getting, you are now truly into a, turning into an economic slave. You're not looking what is good for the country. You're looking for what is good for you, irrespective of what happens to the country. Because now later on, a lot of European countries are saying, oh, 3 days a week, and then we will give you free subsidy for the rest of the hours and all that. Where is that coming from? So those are some of the once you start peeling those complex layers, you will understand most of these rhetorics have a very sinister uh, ideas underneath. They are not for goodwill of people. They are to enslave people so that you keep selecting the same bureaucrats and same thing again because now you're getting free money. There was a concept of universal income where the government would just give a particular sum of you know a fixed amount to every individual, no matter for every citizen. That actually will encourage you not to work. That will encourage you to keep electing the same corrupt bureaucrats or whatever it is, again and again. So there are complexities around that. So we can maybe we do another discussion around the lies that politicians keep feeding us and all that. But coming back to corporate startups, purely private enterprise, I firmly believe that if you are an employee of a company and you consider yourself an employee, 9 to 6 employee, or 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever time is that you do, then it should be very clear to you that, hey, this is what I'm getting paid for, and this is what I'm going to work, and that is it. But if it is your own, if let's say you're getting stock options, you're getting, you are a part owner
Part
of the
of that
company, no
company.
matter how minuscule. The intent behind that is you work towards the benefit of growing the company and consider you a part owner so that you get that alignment of the intent and of effort, and that's
Uh,
all.
Rajiv, somehow, even if it's my company, even if it's I'm a founder of a company, I somehow personally feel I can work from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's easy because
Yeah,
thought process has that inertia. You have that energy of, once you're into it, you just want to finish those tasks and get done with it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
somehow feel
that's all.
Monday through Thursday, I can work from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Again, that's
Yeah,
very personal opinion. Friday, I want to call my day at 3 p.m.
that's fine.
Yeah, I have a
That's
life. I
fine.
have hobbies. I want to pursue my hobbies. When do I have time
And
for
this is
all that?
fine.
And and I'm working because I want to pursue my hobby projects.
So
That's
see,
that's the
that's correct, and you're absolutely correct. But the main thing is where actually it goes wrong is that you have a startup and you are focusing on limiting your time and everything. You're trying to balance this thing, but then don't expect it to be an Amazon or a Microsoft or a big. You can expect it to be similar to a small mom and pop shop that you see on on the street, because there also you see the same thing. So see, you have to understand that the your effort will directly result in a particular um, results. So effort is equal to results uh, most of the time. And if you are going to if you have an ambition of, let's say, like Elon must say that his ambition is to make humanity a multi-planetary species. Right? That you cannot do, like, oh, I only to want to work 9 to 6, or I want to take, weekend off and all that. No,
no,
when you have
it's not
audacious
weekend off.
goals,
Yeah.
then
Yes.
you have to, work that. So as long as you can pair your goals to the effort you're willing to put in, then everything is fine. The problem happens that people are not willing to put in the effort, but they want the results of somebody who is like working 200 hours a week.
Yeah, someone else's hard work will pay for me. Why should I
Ah,
not?
exactly. Yeah,
That
yeah. And
that
that's where,
change, yeah, yeah, that chain marketing thing that someone else will sell and you'll get the commission and all that BS. But yes, I want to give that feel good factor to my listeners that if we look at 70-hour work or 70-hour task or whatever it is, for me, sleeping is a task. Ask any person, any person. Falling asleep is like difficult thing.
hard work.
It doesn't, yeah, it takes a lot of why do you think kids cry if they want to sleep? Why don't you think that they just don't close their eyes and just doze
Yeah,
off?
because
Because
because you're
because
frustrated with your life. You're thinking 10,000 things, what you cannot do, what you are unable to do.
who
A
am
man, a
I?
person,
Why am
yeah.
I born? where
Everything.
all those existential
Why
crises.
did Narayan
And
Murthy
then
say this?
and then waking up is a bigger task. Believe it or not, waking up is a bigger task. You just snooze the button till the time it's like, okay, if I don't wake up now, I am going to be late. And no matter how much hush hush I do, no matter what I cut down, I cannot make it on time for my first stand up. So waking up is another task. Taking breaks is a task because you have to plan your breaks as well. It cannot be like, okay, I'm doing something
See,
and so
that
we
is
are
why
doing
people.
much more than what
No,
we
no.
realize.
See, no, no.
Rajiv,
You
drinking chai
see,
is also a task.
yeah, but you see,
It,
if everything, the moment you say it is a task, it
I mean
becomes
to
a
say
burden.
it's, yeah,
You
होमवर्क
know.
होता है. Seriously, breakfast करना एक
No,
होमवर्क होता
but
है
you
कि
see, but that is where I differ. I say that you should consider everything you do as a meaningful play. I have personally been, I during my career of like 35, 40 years now, I have been into roles that I was really, really angry or frustrated about. But it took me 2 to 3 months to get out of the role. I would actively get out of the role that I'm. So I would see that 3 month or 2 month as a blip. But then I would get into a role that I really enjoyed. For me, whether it is a meeting at night, early morning, all this, it never bothered me. I remember once that I was with Intel very early days at Intel, and we used to carry pagers at that time, for a production support system that if system goes down, then somebody has to be on call. And we would do a rotation. And for me, I would say, okay, that's fine. A lot of people would complain, but some of us would say, if we would want to get a page so that we can go into the office when there's peace and quiet. You attend to the call, but then you also finish off a lot of other work. Then you go home, you sleep, then you come back when you're refreshed. But then everything was, part of that. Intel actually promoted the culture of flexibility. That okay, if you get called at night, then you don't have to come into the office at 8 a.m. So that the company gave the flexibility, and you would enjoy that flexibility. So you made it more like something that you would enjoy rather than complain about.
so Rajiv, there's a beautiful song and I want to quote this. कभी किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता.
Yeah,
कहीं जमी तो कहीं आसमान नहीं मिलता. There
yeah,
won't be anything that you like it 120%.
yep, yep,
There'll be
absolutely.
20 things which you'll be like, I hate it. And then
Yes,
there are 80% things which you're like, oh God, I'm loving it. And I can spend days and hours and days and nights for this kind of work. And even if it's repetitive, even if it's like, but then you'll find a challenge like, okay, this is how I can improve on this. This is how I can uh, automate it or make it more likable or challenging or anything what it is. So it's never like you're 100% satisfied. There will be
you will
shitty jobs
never
that you
be.
have
You
to
should
do.
not. You should never be.
Yes, and you should not and you should never be. That's the try to do more and do better and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
better.
But the the main thing I think where we are differing is that for you is like the hours and the fixed hours and what to do between work life balance. What I'm saying is that when you are doing something that you are really passionate about, then hours do not matter. And then all this tension around this and that disappears right away. It just evaporates because now you're focused on something that is very fulfilling, and it
And
gives
it's a
you a
very
sense of
different
fulfillment.
energy altogether, Rajiv. That's a very
Yeah,
different energy
yeah,
because when you sleep, it's again not the time that you sleep, it's not the quantity, it's the quality of sleep that you're
quality,
getting.
yes,
And
yeah,
if you're contented, then that 2 hours of sleep will be
yeah,
good enough for you.
yeah, yeah. And everybody needs their own time to rest, reflect, or whatever. That's where the introvert and the extroverts come in. A lot of energy play happens. But yeah, I think the corporate this thing around how many hours to put in for how much of money, that's where the economic slavery comes in because you tie your desires and everything, and you think that you are bound by the job you are in. and you're not looking beyond that. On the other hand, people who are passionate about doing, they have audacious goals of their life. If you ask them the same question, they'll say, I don't care. If it is 200 hours, I'll put in 200 hours. For them, the hours don't matter. It is the goal that matters. For people who think that they are stuck in a job, they hate their 20 hours or 24 or all waking hours. For them, the clock is ticking. There for them, it is economic slavery. Economic slavery.
It certainly is, Rajiv, and that, yes, I want to ask my listeners if they want to come, they have a different opinion, and uh, what is that they love about, and what is, if they want to talk that they don't like, it's absolutely fine. But uh, yes, this was a very good, deep, great discussion. I really want Mr. Murthy to listen to us and say that, okay, someone can understand and feel and want to
Or
deep
maybe
dive
he
rather
can
than,
come. Yeah,
yeah,
he can say, okay, I'll come and explain the context behind what I've
yes,
said.
what was the intent and what was
Or
the
somebody else can if
context.
we cannot.
And
Yeah.
yes, it was very confusing for him because when we were growing up, they were role models for us.
Yeah, they still are.
They still are. They still are. And statements like this are like, what are we talking
Yeah, but you
about?
see,
This is
this is where I, do not like the media and social media, because they take one sentence purely out of context. They don't describe the context. That what was the context of that statement? I'm sure that Mr. Narayan Murthy didn't just wake up and say made the statement and went off to sleep. I'm sure there was a discussion that was happening, or there was something else that he had quoted, and media and everybody else just forgot
just
to actually
quoted
understand the
the
context, to understand why is he making that statement.
yes, yes, Rajiv. And Mr. Murthy, if you want to come on our show, more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Do visit our website, thelailama.com. Let us know if you want to be part of our show. We'll be more than happy to host you. I want to say, take breaks, stay focused, and be contented with what you have. Over to you, Rajiv.
Yeah, so I will actually say differently. Another thing is that this, so we can go back into discussion of what is contented versus satisfied. I
Topic for
would say
some other
be,
day.
I would say be contented, but never be satisfied.
Well, thank you
We
so much
can
for sharing
carry
that,
on the discussion.
Rajiv. Yes, and the discussion continues. Thank you.
Thank you.